So what happens if you don't actually apply the strategy? What happens if you don't have a strategy, don't have a coach, don't have a guidance, don't have a plan? Well, what's the cost there? The cost there is the cost of time. It's the cost of opportunity. It's the cost of life. You know, your career is not it. It's not the only thing in your life. You want to begin to have a family, you want to travel, you want to have financial stability, you want to buy yourself a house, you want to buy a car, you want to buy yourself groceries that are a little bit fancy, if that's what you want. But those are all opportunity costs. When you are not able to get a job, when you're not able to begin your life and your career, that holds you back. So you need to make sure that you've applied the strategy. You are consistently applying that strategy so that you can advance in your life. You can get that job that you want right now and begin that career. You can get that opportunity in the next time. But aside from that, the most important thing and the biggest tragedy, honestly, is that you're just not happy. You're not fulfilled. You're not excited to be going into work. And to me, that's the saddest thing that anybody can go through. And I wish I could like wave a magic wand and have everybody feel fulfilled and loved and encouraged and guided. And just feeling fulfilled in there every single day, that you wake up every single morning so excited to get going, so excited to crush your goals, so excited to create that life that you want, you've always dreamed about. And so that's exactly what I'm going to be doing in this course. And I hope that you don't pay the price of losing time to be fulfilled, to feeling happy, losing time of opportunity, losing time of your life and your progression in life, and losing any of that. And I hope that you take this opportunity to invest in yourself. And you've just invested thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And I invested 42,000 in my undergraduate and another 20 in my graduate. So $62,000 that I invested in myself to get an education. So how much have you invested to get an education? So how much can you invest in yourself to begin to see a return on that investment, to begin your career, to start realizing that what you studied and all that hard work, all those late nights, all those coffees, all that hard work and struggle, that it's paying off now. So what can you do to invest in yourself right now for that? So I really hope that you take the opportunity now to sign up for this course so that you can become the successful candidate and you can become fulfilled, happy, and and at the end of the day, you can just get to know yourself and who you are and what brings you the most happiness in this world. So make sure you register, and I hope I can get to know you. So what is my story? So in my 4th year of my undergrad, I started to think about, okay, I've been taking out student loans, I've been working hard. What do I do next? How easy is it to get a job? And I started looking at the data and I started realizing that, oh my gosh, like it's so hard for people to get a full-time, stable job with benefits, with a salary that I really wanted, that will sustain me and help me to achieve financial stability and to achieve the kind of life that I wanted, where I can have some flexibility, I can buy some nice things if I wanted, or I can go out for dinner and not think about it twice. So I, started thinking about that, and I started thinking, like, how can I actually get that life for myself? How can I actually create that? And what I realized is that I needed to first of all look at what my student loans was. And that's what I did. So I got that piece of paper about like 4 months, I think 4 months before I graduated. I got a piece of paper that said, congratulations, you're ready to graduate. Here's what you need to know. 6 months, you get a 6-month grace period after graduation. And then after 6 months, you have to start paying back your loan, which was astronomical. I had a $42,000 student loan, and that's including interest. And they only give you 8 years, I think, to pay for it. And at that time, when I was graduating, I looked at, okay, if I was to pay for this for 8 years, what's the total? And they give you the breakdown on this piece of paper. That $40,000 was going to balloon to $118,000. And I just freaked out. I just had a moment where I was like, oh my gosh, How am I going to pay back $40,000? How am I going to pay that back before it turns into $120,000? Yeah, sure, I can pay the lowest minimum payment, but that would mean that that student loan would become 120,000, and I didn't want to pay double or triple for my program that someone else did. I wanted to pay it off right away, and I needed to figure that out. I sat down and I went home and I thought about it for a very long time, about a month or two, and I said, what am I going to do? How am I going to ensure that I get a job right away after graduation? So I started looking at every single blog that I could find. At that time, blogging was not that big, and it wasn't that long ago, but it was still not that big. Um, I started looking at books. I started purchasing tons of career books on how to write resumes, how to write cover letters, how to apply effectively, how to do all this. And I treated it like a course. I invested so much time and energy and money into figuring everything I needed to figure out and how I needed to get a job right away. Then I built this strategy, and it was a culmination of everything that I knew personally, everything that I had learned from people, from books, from blogs, from all of that. And I decided to build this strategy where I can actually figure out how am I going to apply, how am I going to successfully become the candidate, and how am I going to actually negotiate the salary that I want when I'm just coming out of school. And really didn't have much experience to talk about other than academically. And so about in mid-March, I was graduating in April. No, I was graduating in June, I think. In mid-March, I decided that, I'm going to just give it a go. I'm going to see if all this work really paid off, and if all this work is really going to help me. So I started applying, and I started applying with all the strategy tips that I had, with all the guidance that I had built for myself, and started applying my strategy to my career seeking journey. And it's definitely a journey. And I know you can all say it's a journey too, because it definitely takes some time. But, with everything, consistency is key, and then you'll see the results. And that's exactly what I did. I started going and going and going. And before I knew it, and I had just started in about second week of March, by mid-April, I had negotiated a full-time, with benefits, stable, permanent position in my field of interest in a company that was national, that I would take a big part in. And I actually negotiated a salary that I wanted. And I figured out exactly what that salary was, because how many of you actually know what you're worth? How many of you actually know what salary you need to sustain yourself in life? And we don't actually know what we're worth. We kind of, in our first job, most people that I know, they just take what they can because they want the job, and they don't even feel they have any grounds to negotiate, which is false. And I'm going to teach you all about that in the course. But that's exactly what happened. And I was so pumped and I was so excited that my strategy actually worked. But what the biggest thing that I wanted to do is that I knew that my personality, and being someone that wants to grow all the time, wants to experience different things. I didn't want to be someone that's, in the same job for more than 2 years. I didn't want to kind of be in the same industry for more than a few years. I didn't want to kind of follow the traditional trajectory of life. I knew that for me to gain as much experience as I wanted, I needed to move around, and I needed to figure out how to do that. So I took the strategy that I had and I actually applied it consistently every single day in my career. There were certain things that I had done, and it was all in my mindset and how I processed things and how I explained things and how I took things. And I applied this strategy. And within about 6 months, I was offered a position in a government organization. And, it was administrative. So I was okay with that. I took the position. And the reason why I took the position was because I had at that time begun my master's degree. I had begun my master's degree in the field of interest, and that position was in the exact team for the government that does the work that I was studying. And it was so cool that I was studying these reports, but my colleague that was right next to me is the one that wrote that report. And I was studying it. It was the most surreal thing that I had been a part of, and it was amazing. And, I did my master's degree. I had so much support, and the fact that I was working in the industry and helping with these reports that I was studying, was the coolest thing. Honestly, I can't even explain how cool it was to be studying what you wrote and what you worked with the team that you worked with and developed these reports with. And so then after graduation, I had, so much success and I loved everything that I did. But once I graduated from my master's, I knew now, okay, now is the time for me to get into management. But how am I going to go from being a project coordinator into being a manager? That is unheard of, right? That's unheard of. With or without a master's degree, it's just unheard of. So what I did was I seeked out opportunities. I figured out where I needed to go and what I needed to do. And I not only did I show up into another position, but I analyzed that position and I knew that that position before I applied was going to be a management position. And once I got into that role, I showed up. I consistently applied my strategy, and within 4 months of being in that position, I had successfully negotiated with the executive at that time that that position needed to move from being a coordinator into being a manager. And I needed to have my own program to develop, to design, to implement with executives across our entire organization. And that's exactly what happened. Within 4 months, I was able to successfully negotiate that. And it was so amazing. And it was such an amazing and lovely position. And the experience that I got in that industry, and it was in the healthcare industry in BC, in Canada, and the experience and the people that I met, I would have never met if I had not negotiated that for myself. And I was so excited, and I did that all within a year and a half of graduating, from my master's degree. All of a sudden now I am the manager and I've been in that position for a year and a half. And I was so pumped. I was so excited that I was doing something that usually takes about 5 to 7 years for people to get to. I had done it in 6 months and I was so pumped and so excited. And then was having my daughter and I wanted to have a position that gave me more flexibility to be pregnant, to, not have to, and I was flying all across the province at the time and across the country too. And I didn't want to keep flying while pregnant. And also I wouldn't have been able to. I wanted to have a bit more relaxing time. And that's the key that I will teach you, is that when you know yourself and you know what you need in life, you will know when you need to take a step back. You'll get to know your priorities. You'll be able to shift it. You'll be able to know what positions will give you that opportunity to live that part of your life and to live more in your personal life and dedicate less into your career, because that's all about life. It's about that balance, moving things in and out and reprioritizing your life. And so that's exactly what I did. Because I had consistently applied my strategy, I had networked confidently, I had known people in different industries and different positions, and I knew what positions were out there, even though they weren't posted and they weren't actively hiring for those positions. So that's exactly what I did. I applied and I emailed and I asked, hey, is this job still open? I had known it was open about a year ago, and I didn't know if they were still looking to recruit for that position. But because I had done my networking and because I had known people and because I had done my homework and I knew everything there was and I knew what I could bring into that position, I was able to, by that email, successfully secure that position for myself and go through all the processes that you need to in getting a new job. And I was able to move closer to home in a position that gave me so much flexibility and so much love. I just loved that position. And recently, when I returned back after maternity leave into that position, I was like, okay, now I got that flexibility while I was pregnant. Now I've had my daughter, but now I'm ready to get going again. And I wanted to actually test out my strategy one more time because I had been off for about a year and a half. So I applied the strategy from the moment I started. I consistently applied and applied and applied, and a leadership position opened up, and I had an email in my inbox asking me to apply, asking me if I'd be interested. So I said, sure, I'll explore that. And little do you know, I got the job, and I just started earlier, actually not earlier in October, actually, end of September is when I started that position. And now I'm doing that and I love it. And I love every minute of it. And I love that the strategy just consistently works for me. And I developed this strategy I'm going to date myself here, but oh my gosh, it was so long ago. It was like in 2012 that I developed this strategy. That was 9 years ago or 8 years ago, almost 9 years ago. But I applied this strategy, developed this strategy about 9 years ago. 8 years ago. I keep going back and forth. I developed this strategy 8 years ago, and it is still working for me today. It is still something that's successful. I still get people questioning and asking me what is going on, how is it working, and with every single person that I coach, I give them this knowledge, I give them these skills. And I just had a master's student who I walked through a very small portion of the course, and she said it was a game changer for her. It was the best thing that she actually got out of the whole thing. And I'm so excited to share that with you. And I'm so excited to actually guide you so that you can start applying the strategy consistently. This is not an investment just for now. This is not a one-time investment you'll be making in yourself. This is a lifetime investment you'll be making into yourself. This is about you and your personal growth and understanding who you are. And I just spoke to someone recently too that said, I am having such a hard time getting a job. They got a job, you know, in the general industry, but not the position that they wanted, not what they wanted to do. But they got a job, but it was a contract. It didn't set them up for the next thing. It didn't give them the experience, the knowledge that they needed to get into the industry that they wanted to get into, and into the position they wanted to get into. So she said she was really thinking of getting a life coach because she said, I wanted someone to guide me for my life. Like, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is it not? Why am I having such difficulty? And I said to her, I said, this course is not just a career course. It is a life course. It is a career course. You can't build a career if you're not looking at who you are, and who you are and what you do have to be aligned. You have to be aligned because you can't be two different people. That's where imposter syndrome comes in. That's where you start feeling conflicted. That's when you start not knowing if this is for you, it's not for you. You don't look forward to it. You don't get excited. And to me, the saddest thing in the world is that we invest so much time and energy in working and, to end your day off and feeling, oh, thank God I get to go home. I'm just so over this job. Why do so many of us look forward to retirement or vacations? Why can't we sustain ourselves? Why can't we build those systems? Why can't we create that life for ourselves where we're excited to be at work? We're excited to be there. We're excited to take time off so we can do something for ourselves. That doesn't mean we're running away from work. That doesn't mean that we're trying to get away from work. It just means we're looking to shift gears for a week or 2 or 3. But coming back to work, it's still exciting. It's still something that you look forward to. And it's not about the people you work with, but it's the actual work that you do, because the people will change. How do you create that shift in your mindset? How do you create that life for yourself? That's what I'm so, so excited to share with you in this course. I'm so excited to share that with you, and everything that I have to share with you in this course, and who you are and what you should be doing, how you can align yourself, how you can network, how you can apply. It's how you can become the successful candidate. I'm so excited to share all of that with you. So make sure you register before the spots are all filled up and save your spot. And I hope I can get to know you and your story.